I'm Greg Coleman, President of the Florida Bar. As you may have heard, Chief Justice George Labarga and the Florida Bar are partnering together to fast-track the appointment of a group of high-level stakeholders who are going to be charged with creating the mechanism to finally address the pressing need to create better access to our courts. Rather than reiterating what I've written about on this topic, I'd simply refer you to the Florida Bar website to read the September-October 2014 Florida Bar Journal. The President's message is on access to justice. While you're visiting our site, there's a wonderful profile of Chief Justice George Labarga in the same journal. So for this President's message, I have an unusual request. On January 31st of this year, Karen Buesing accepted the 2014 Tobias Simon Pro Bono Service Award at the Supreme Court of Florida. This award recognizes the one lawyer a year who exemplifies single-minded devotion to providing pro bono legal services to the citizens of this state who are poor and disadvantaged. In her brief remarks, Karen talks about her exposure to true poverty and how she realized the tenuous thread that held her pro bono clients' lives together and the lives of other poor and disadvantaged people. If they lose their car, they lose their job. If they lose their job, they lose their house. If they lose their house, they lose their job. Everything is so tenuously connected. She talks about how a setback that would be a mere inconvenience to us could cost her client everything. The purpose of showing you Karen's acceptance speech is to hopefully invigorate and excite our members to step up to the plate, to provide a higher level of pro bono service this year. While we're in the process of working to prove access to justice, lawyers still must fill this very important void by representing the poor and disadvantaged. Please take a moment of your time to listen to Karen's brief words immediately following this message. Then pick up the phone, call your local pro bono services provider, volunteer to take a case. The rewards will be amazing, not just for your client, but for you. Thanks in advance.
May it please the court, justices, bar leaders, award winners, and honored guests. I am deeply honored to be here. I thank the Hillsborough Association for Women Lawyers for nominating me, and the Florida Supreme Court and the Florida Bar for recognizing all of us here today. My congratulations to all of the award winners. Your contributions are simply nothing less than extraordinary. Tobias Simon was only 52 years old when he died, but he left us a remarkable legacy as a civil rights advocate. I'm proud to follow in the footsteps of another Ackerman attorney, Richard Milstein, who won this award in 1996, and also of Alex Ackerman Jr., the founder of our firm, who left his own civil rights legacy when he joined the NAACP in defending 3 black men wrongly framed on a rape charge in 1949 here in Florida, was the subject of Gilbert King's recent Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, The Devil in the Grove. I grew up in a middle-class family, the daughter of a career Army man who retired from service, became an aerospace engineer in Cocoa Beach. The whole high school was comprised completely of engineers' kids. I was utterly unfamiliar with poverty. It simply didn't exist in our little 8-mile-long, 2-block-wide town. That changed early in my career when I took a case through the Bay Area Legal Services Volunteer Lawyers Program. A poor, uneducated woman had been taken advantage of by an unscrupulous roofer working hand-in-hand with an unscrupulous finance company. She'd given them a $20,000 mortgage on her home for work worth about $1,200, and she'd lost some of the meager income she was getting taking care of some kids, and so they were foreclosing. I saved her house, but what I realized was how tenuous the thread that held her life together and the lives of the other clients served by organizations like Bay Area Legal Services. If their car broke down, they lost their job. If they lost their job, they lost their house. If they lost their house, they lost their job. Everything was so tenuously connected. A setback that was a mere inconvenience to me could cost them everything. 7 years ago, I got a much more up-close and personal look at poverty and the life of the disadvantaged. My husband Bob and I my husband actually was at a Y leadership event where a 19-year-old spoke about what happens to kids when they age out of foster care. At the time, that was at the end of their junior year, typically then, or the beginning of their senior year, and suddenly they have to pay for food, clothing, shelter, utilities, and manage their own lives. It's no surprise that most of them at that time dropped out of high school. This young lady had found a Y family who gave her room and board her senior year and was making a pitch for others to do the same so that kids could finish high school. She had cobbled together scholarships and was then going to college. We agreed to do that, but then she called us and asked if we would take her 14-year-old younger sister instead. Her younger sister was at risk. She had been in and out of foster care homes for many years. We did that and began a journey that forever changed our lives. In the 7 years since we first took her in, yes, she stayed for 7 years, we have taken in 5 other youth who lacked a stable home or were outright homeless. One was 15, the others were all 18 or older. None of them were in the foster care system, except her, she had been. There are no dollars attached to homeless youth who are not in the foster care system, and therefore there are no services. Most of these kids are lacking in formal education and simple life skills. Some have made the kind of bad choices that you make when no one shows you how to make the good ones. These kids, like most people who are poor and uneducated, have no voice, and even when they do and they try to speak, no one listens. I cannot count the times that we've been able to make a difference in the life of a homeless youth simply by picking up the phone and saying, "Hello, I'm an attorney, and I'm trying to help a young lady who's trying to get enrolled in the local county health program. And she keeps getting a letter saying she's not eligible when I'm sure she is. Let's talk." Or, "Hello, I'm an attorney, and I'm working with a homeless youth who works part-time for minimum wage, reads at the 3rd grade level, and just showed me a contract you had him sign where he agreed to pay $28,000 for a $7,000 car at 28% interest. Shall we talk?" Or, "Hello, I'm an attorney, and I'm trying to help a young woman whose car was struck and totaled last week. She's left multiple messages for the adjuster, who's never called her back." All we have to do is say, "Hello, I'm an attorney," and we can open doors that are closed to the poor, the uneducated, and the disenfranchised. My husband Bob and I are both attorneys, and he has been my partner in this extraordinary homeless youth adventure. These kids have faced immense challenges trying to cross the bridge from poverty to the middle class. Every now and again, I'm frustrated at the lack of resources, and I want to play the lottery, which my son says is a tax for people who can't do math, simply so that I can indulge the fantasy of funding a homeless youth shelter and training center. But Bob's response always brings me back to reality. He always says, "Karen, we already won the lottery." Ah, that we did. All of us did. We are so very privileged. When my kids were growing up, I used to tell them it was really important that they reach for the stars, but when they grabbed hold of one, it was their obligation to reach back down and extend a hand to someone else who was not so fortunate. I'm proud to say that they have both done so, and so have all of you, award winners. My congratulations to all of you. You are making a huge difference in the lives of others. But we are few, and the needs are many. Legal services organizations continue to face cuts in funding that mean fewer people can receive services. By contributing time, and if not time, then money, all of us can help those who cannot help themselves. If you have not yet rolled up your sleeves and gotten involved in pro bono services, I would encourage you to do so. Simply by being an attorney, you can open doors that are closed to others. So pick up the phone and open that door. Your efforts will change not only the lives of those you help, but your own. And thank you so much.